Hi and welcome to the channel SouthWood Designs. I'm David and today we're going to build a 4-tier cat tree out of pine using these utility panels, and we'll have a few extras on them as well, so stick around and see how it's built. I've bought panels that are in a size that I've used before to build these cat trees, and it comes out quite successfully. These are the measurements of them that I'll show up on screen, but they're roughly 1.80 m tall, 40 centimetres or just over 40.5 centimetres wide, and 1.8 centimetres thick in terms of the timber thickness, so about 5'11" is the panel height, 1'4" wide and 3/4 of an inch deep. And once we've built them, we'll actually sit them on a base, so it'll be just slightly higher than 1.80. It'll be about 181.8 in fact, so 182 centimetres high, and you'll be able to see how those built as we go through the stages step by step. So in terms of materials, it's pretty straightforward. The 4 panels that we need, that I've put the sizes up before, and they're available off the shelf at our local Bunnings store, which in Australia is a local hardware store, and in your various countries you'll be able to pick up probably something similar in preset timber, pre-cut timber. We've also got 2 50mm or 5 centimetre PVC pipes that are going to be wrapped in sisal, 10mm sisal. And that'll be 2 scratching posts that go between the levels. There's also some carpet pieces that I'm going to cut to size that we'll put on each layer, each level, so the cats can lay on that quite comfortably and have a rest or even have a sleep if they want to. Okay, let's get into it. So what we're doing here is just measuring up for the first trim, the first cut. And because the timber is the same size, and this is the side panels that we're doing, I've just put one on top of the other. And I'm clamping a guide rail along so I can do a drop with the circular saw in, and we're going to cut through 2 pieces at this point because the saw is bigger than the 2 pieces together. Taking it fairly slowly because the saw is not a huge one, but it's certainly enough to get the job done. And then having done the ends, or one end at this point, looking at doing the sides, and the same thing, clamping 2 bits together and just dropping the saw in to do that second cut through. Let's see how that comes out. I haven't got dust collection on the circular saw, as you can see, but normally I do. It's just something that makes life a little less messy. So I've just showed you there that there's no battery in the jigsaw as I put the bit in the jigsaw, and just finishing off where the circular saw didn't cut all the way through with the jigsaw so that it cuts those 4 edges off out of the panels nicely, and as you can see, it's just left those 2 panels with the center pieces that are going to be the waste, if you like. What we're doing here now is just measuring up for 3 out of the 4 shelves. The shelves, the piece is 1.80 m or 6 foot, and each shelf is going to be 60 centimeters or 2 foot, so it's an even cut. Because it's coming out of the one piece, instead of doing the cut beside the line, which is normal, I've actually done the cut on the line, so that I'm going to end up with 3 pieces the same. There you go. And then this is, I think, the 4th cut of 60 centimeters. Actually, that might be the base, but anyway, that's the... Oh no, I just cut it to something a bit more manageable. There we go. The first bit was the base, and then this is the 4th shelf, 60 centimeters, with a cross-cut sled. And so now we've got the 4 shelves cut nicely and ready to go. Tidy up the circular saw, quick bit of vacuuming because, you know, got to keep things neat and tidy. So here's what we've got. We've got the 2 pipes with, you can see the top on one of those. We've got the base, which is 3 foot long, 90 centimeters. We've got 4 shelves, which are 2 foot long or 60 centimeters. And I do need to shorten the width of those. They're 40 centimeters and a half. 40.5 centimeters won't quite work. Those are the 2 side panels, and then you can see that carpet that's there. A couple of small rolls of carpet that I'm going to cut to size and glue on a bit later on. So using the pocket hole Craig jig and the Craig jig holder that I made, which is quite a useful tool, just marking up now so that the pocket holes can be drilled into all of the pieces at once. It just saves time. It just makes sense to batch up things when you're doing a job like this. So if you've got pocket holes to do, try and do them all at once. So just going through one by one, getting those pocket holes in. Because it's not going to take a huge amount of weight, I've only put one pocket hole in each side, so there's only 4 in each piece. Oh, the bit dropped out. Don't worry about that. Easily fixed. I won't do any outtakes at the end of it. We'll just leave that bit in. So getting all 4 of the shelves done so that those holes are lined up nicely, and it doesn't matter which side you go from, because 2 are going to face one way and 2 are going to face the other. Pocket holes are going to be screwed in from underneath. All right, what are we doing here? Oh, a bit of sanding, all masked and covered for a bit of protection. Actually, sorry, no, not sanding, a bit of routing. So I'm just doing a little edge on this just to smooth it over. It's just a round edge across the front and back, 3 sides out of the 4. The bottom of these side panels I haven't done because they're going to be screwed into the base, the 90 centimeter base. So here comes the second panel, and same thing all around, 3 out of the 4 sides on the outside, but on the inside doing all of the inside, and it just makes things nice and tidy, just nice rounded edges so you don't knock yourself on a sharp edge of the timber, and I think it's just a nice finish. Going at 12 times speed here because you don't want to see this bit by bit, it gets a bit boring. So here the shelves, I'm just doing all sides of the shelves. Same thing as before, just a nice round over edge, and it just finished it off nicely with the router. All right, a bit of an afterthought, because when you're using the router, particularly when you're going along the grain, it gets pretty messy in terms of the amount of material that comes off. So this is just a little vacuum sucky thing that I made that hopefully gets rid of and sucks in. It does actually do an all right job. It sucks in some of the dust, not all of it, but makes it a bit better than it was before I was using it. Kind of forgot at first, but you know, you get that. So then here we go, the sanding. So a bit of a finish off with a sander. Still got the protection on, face masks and glasses and so on. And again, it just takes off the rough edges and it just makes it look good. I'm leaving these pieces unstained. The ones that I've done before have actually come up quite nicely, but I'm leaving them unstained, just finishing them off with the sander. That previous shot, I was just measuring up the shelves on the base, and here I'm just putting lines 40 centimeters apart up the side pieces, because each shelf is going to sit 40 centimeters above the next. Clamping that down, then I'm just going to put the base on now. 2 drills, highly recommended. 1 for the drill bit and 1 for the one for the screw bit, for want of a better expression. Now, deliberate mistake here, not really, but anyway, it took me a little while to figure this out, and I put those 2 shelves on, but I should have had them facing forward or flipped over the other way with a bit of overhang on this side. But anyway, it didn't really matter because you're not putting extra screw holes in. Useful thing here is that it does hold that other side panel up. So clamp that on. You see it's getting a bit dark here when I realised that I've made a mistake. Quick wave at a neighbour coming in. And I thought, okay, got to fix that. So fix that, and then next morning, same shirt on for just a bit of continuity. Now what I'm doing here is I'm putting the PVC base or cap on, and I'm screwing the bottom one on. I've unscrewed that middle shelf, as you can see, just on 2 parts so that I can lift it up slightly and get the cap in. Actually, I unscrewed it completely there, as it happens. But you can get that cap in and get things in nice and tight, and then the Craig screws back in again. And this, of course, will be covered in the rope. The rope or the sisal, which will finish that off. And I'm just doing the other side here too. A couple of screws in the cap. And again, cuts length using the saw there, the mitre saw. All right to cut PVC with that, no problem at all. So that's starting to look pretty good. Coming along nicely. Just getting those final Craig screws in for that top shelf. And there we have it. That's pretty well the finished product in terms of the build, the timber side of things. Now what we need to do is get the carpet and cut that to size. And the carpet I've used here, because this is more of a bed rather than the day cat tree, I've got a slightly thicker piled carpet. So the carpet pretty well covers the whole of the each layer or each tier. Just putting a bit of glue on there, make sure it's well covered, and lay that out onto each of the shelves. And then just throw a bit of weight on it just to hold it down so that the glue takes nicely. And repeat the process. This is a multi-purpose glue that I'm using here. And again, the same thing, just completely covering that shelf. Bit of weight on those. So button head screw. So I finish off the carpet. I didn't need to show you all of them. This is 18 meters of rope. That button head screw is going to screw the rope into the bottom first of all, and I've put the screw in from the right hand side as you're viewing it, so it's out the way, but that just holds the rope in nicely. I've pre-cut and measured the rope. I put 10 centimeters up at first just to see how much rope it took. It was about 2¼ meters for each 10 centimeters. It gives you an idea of how much you need. And so I'm just gluing up gradually, and I'm holding the rope by hand in this one. And I'd forgot that what I've done in previous builds is used a clamp to hold the rope, because it gets a bit out of hand sometimes when you've got 18 meters of rope that you're trying to put in. And then just finish it off with another one of those button head screws. Just there like that, and then just reposition it so that I can do the bottom part. So here we go, bit of glue part way up. You don't want to put glue too far up, because if you get caught up or have to stop or you're a bit slow, then the glue you're going to be wasted. So I'm just doing sections at a time. You can see I've got a clamp on the rope there, and it just holds that nicely in place. It just makes it a bit easier, and then just unhitch a bit every time you get close to the bundle of rope. So here we go, going through each section. Bit more glue. It's a ton of rope, it's amazing. I've got an 80 meter or 100 meter roll of the sisal that I ordered in. Just a re-rolling of the rope because it got a bit out of control. And this is great, the cats love this. Now the width of these poles are a little bit less, as I mentioned before, than the previous builds that I've done. I've used 50 mil or 2-inch wide or diameter pipes. It took slightly less rope than the 65 mil ones, but there wasn't really much in it. But it still, I think, will do the job, because by the time you get the sisal around these poles, you've got 10 centimeters of sisal. So the actual finished pole is 7 centimeters of rope, and look, or 7 centimeters of rope plus the pipe. Looks pretty good. That's the finished product. And there we go. Hope you like it. Well, there you go. That's the end of the build. I think it's come out pretty well. I've built these before, as I said, and each time I just do a few refinements. In this case, I used a slightly smaller PVC pipe instead of a 65mm one. I used a 50mm one. Still burned through a whole ton of rope. There's 18 meters of rope in this section, and 18 meters as rope or sisal, and 18 meters in the bottom section. But you know, little things like this knotted piece of rope that's been screwed underneath into the top section there is nice, a little toy for the cats to play with. The carpet I've used here is slightly softer than one that I've used in previous builds, and I think that's just going to be more suitable for those for the cats to sleep on. I think they'll enjoy that. So as always, if you've enjoyed this, please like the video, and feel free to subscribe as well, and hit the notification button. You'll find out then when a new video comes out. Plans will be available shortly. If you want to build this yourself, you can download the plans off the Etsy store under SouthWoodDesignStore, and you'll be able to do that wherever you live. You can download those digital plans and have a lot of fun making this great piece of furniture. I'm sure you'll enjoy it, and I'm absolutely sure the cats will love it too. So thanks again for watching. Thanks for coming back and seeing the videos again. It's been great fun building things, and I'll continue to do so, and looking forward to see you at the next video. Cheers.